So you started your spiritual journey, you're reading the right books, you're meditating more, and you just enjoy zenning out at home. But then you enter the real world and you get stuck in traffic. The lines are so long because of COVID, or maybe certain people just know how to push your buttons, and you act not so zen. It just doesn't feel right anymore. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 5 proven spiritual techniques you can use to help you remain focused and centered when things just don't go right. Hello, beautiful being. I am Leslie Demai, and welcome to the Spiritual Hangout, a community where it's all about higher conscious conversations aimed to guide you on your spiritual journey. All right, so tip number 1, recognize and surrender. Your meditation practice and your reading books and exploring spirituality, that's your homework. But these triggers you're going to be encountering, those are your tests. This entire experience of being a human is a giant test. We're in a school. We're trying to evolve our spirit, reconnect with our spirit, raise our consciousness. And these triggers are ways to get you there. They're not going to be easy, but they're ways to break free of reacting. All right, so how do we recognize this before we react? It's going to come back to meditation. Most of these tips are going to come back to meditation, but we have to explore these concepts and kind of analyze them a little bit so that we can really understand them from a logical point of view and then in a spiritual point of view when you're meditating. So recognize when you're being tested. Go into the world and face it like, okay, this is my test today. My test is I'm probably going to be under a lot of stress, but it's my decision ultimately on how I react. So when you find yourself in a stressful situation, the first thing you need to do to prevent yourself from reacting is be aware of it, recognize it, continue your meditation practice, and be mindful. The surrender portion, a lot of people confuse this with giving up. No, surrendering to whatever comes your way, okay? Surrender to whatever obstacles come your way and understand that it's really how you perceive this experience. It doesn't actually have to be an obstacle. It could just be a detour. And we never know why things happen, but have faith that whatever happens and whatever you encounter is happening for your greater good. The universe doesn't just make things happen because it just malfunctioned. No, whatever's coming your way is there for a reason. So recognize it, stare it in the face, and then surrender. Surrender to the idea that you have to react. Or if you do react, surrender to the idea that you have to feel bad about it or guilty. Surrendering is just letting it roll off your shoulder and then moving on. All right, so you've recognized the situation that made you not act so zen, and you've surrendered to the idea, right? You've surrendered to the reaction. You're gonna let that go. Next step to help you let that go and then move forward and out of that energetic kind of space you found yourself in is you're gonna just breathe. And you're gonna take a deep breath. Taking a deep breath slows down the heart rate. It slows down your respiration. It helps you relax. It's calming. And for me, when I take a deep breath, it helps clean my slate. It's like, all right, let's start over again. As a nurse, when I have patients that are either having anxiety attacks or if they're in a lot of pain, what do we tell our patients? We tell them, take a deep breath and slowly let it go. I close my eyes and I focus to the center of my chest to realize that whatever is happening externally is just temporary and that I hold the power to react how I want to react. So take that deep breath. Hold it for a second and then let it out. Focus internally and get ready to conquer the rest of your day. Okay, so tip number 3 is a beautiful way to begin to also explore the notion of mindfulness. With your meditation, you come mantras too, and this is taught by Thich Nhat Hanh. He is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk and one of my favorite teachers on the subject of mindfulness. This is a mindfulness mantra, and what you're going to do is whatever emotion you are feeling when you're triggered or things are very stressful and just not going right. Let's say you're feeling angry. You want to begin to separate yourself from this emotion, but it's very hard to do so when you're in the middle of experiencing this eruption inside of you, right? It just consumes you, the anger or the sadness, whatever it is. So this mantra is very simple, and I recommend that you do this when you look at yourself in the mirror and look at yourself in the eyes. There's something magical about mirror gazing. So look at yourself in the eyes and say, okay, you're going to breathe, and you're going to say, breathing in, I know that the anger is here. And then you're going to breathe out, breathing out, I know that the anger is not me. Breathing in, I know that the anger is unpleasant. Breathing out, I know that this emotion will pass. So I will have a full description of this mindfulness mantra below. It is very, very effective. I've had many people try this, and it just helps center you again. And again, these tips are all about recentering you back to your true power, back to your most aligned, highest self, because the external world is a hot mess, and it's just going to turn you into a hot mess too. So it's all about less external, more internal, and this mindful mantra is going to help get you there. Okay, so we're on to tip number 4, but before we get into it, if you're still not subscribed to my channel and you're feeling the vibes, please do so. Also, I post videos twice a week, and if you hit that bell notification, it'll let you know as soon as I do. All right, so tip number 4. This is something I recommend when you're headed into the grocery store. To me, it's like a battle zone of like deflecting the anger, deflecting the anxiety, deflecting the fear, and it's overwhelming. And this goes for like Target, Walmart, wherever you go to run your errands. During COVID, it's just like another world, and it's very bizarre. So a technique I do now, which is super simple, I don't even know if you call it a technique, but it's my way of remaining centered, is I take my headphones and I listen to my favorite podcast. It's either my favorite podcast or high vibrational music. And if you don't know, I have a podcast myself. It's called The Spiritual Hangout, and I have amazing guests who are so informative and also help you on your spiritual journey. So if you want to watch that, I have the videos on my YouTube channel, and you can also listen to it on your favorite platform. So take your headphones with you to run these errands, make sure your phone's charged, and see if it helps you to not get sucked into those energies. I love to be social when I go out, but right now in Los Angeles, it's just not happening. People aren't engaging in conversations, and you know what? That's the way the world is right now. That's the way the world is right now. But instead of getting sucked into the fear state, I will stay with my spiritual teachings, and I will listen to them from my phone. Okay, so we're on to tip number 5, our final one. This is going to involve some journaling. So if you don't journal, it's all good. If you have a journaling practice, this should come very easily to you. All you need is a piece of paper and a pen. Here's my journal right here. And so you want to reflect on your day. So this is something you'll probably do at the end of your day. And I do this even when I have encounters with a family member or a phone call that goes wrong. I'll reflect on it so that I can break it down, understand my human behavior towards it, okay? And then I will just let it go. So wherever you've been triggered throughout your day, say like you had a fight with a coworker, or say like you felt extremely anxious and then took it out on someone else. Write it down. Write it down, analyze kind of why it happened from a loving place of compassion and non-judgment. Okay? This is really important in your spiritual journey, because you have to understand that your reaction towards these triggers is natural, but it's not you. And so you want to separate yourself from that, and writing it down can be very helpful. So do this when you are, out of a meditation or before a meditation, when you feel like you're ready to conquer this. The pen and the paper is an extremely powerful tool. It's like a weapon almost. It's like a weapon that can help you like master the recognizing and surrendering of your day-to-day problems or things that go wrong. So write it down, understand it, be like, I think I know why I had an argument with my coworker. I was extremely anxious when I took my lunch break. I had to go into the Trader Joe's. And then there was so many lines, and then the traffic. Okay, I get it. It actually wasn't my coworker. I was just extremely anxious. And I am not that emotion anxious. That was just a brief moment in time. And next time, maybe I'll take an extra breath and I'll recognize that. So self-recognition is super important. And journaling has helped me to understand my ways a little bit better. So I hope that you have taken away some tips that you can utilize, and maybe you've already used these, but you just haven't in a while. It's all good. And if you have any tips that you recommend, I would love to hear them. Just put them on the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you subscribe. I hope you hit that like button. And until next time, infinite love and gratitude.